Morning, Raptor Freak. Alexiot's here on a Thursday morning. Just wanted to take a chance to talk about a situation with a couple of the players on the Raptors right now that are under the management of Clutch Sports Management. Here's just a little quick history lesson, real quick. Clutch Sports Management is primarily run by Rich Paul, who is a sports agent that is friends with LeBron James. He used to sell jerseys or something. And early in LeBron's career, they became buddies and they worked together to develop Clutch Sports Management by 2012. LeBron and him came together and formed this management company, which is really unprecedented because no NBA player ever in the history of the NBA had ever been a sports agent kind of and also playing at the same time still. It's a little dicey to me. The whole thing I'm going to talk about today is conflict of interest, because in conflict of interest seems to be in play here in some ways, but not necessarily maybe for Raptor players that are under Clutch Sports Management. And I'm going to delineate the differences between what's happening with other Clutch clients and what's happening with the two guys on the Raptors that are under their management, which are OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr., are both under the agency of a company that is owned by LeBron James. LeBron James owns the company that represents OG Anunoby and Gary Trent Jr. I don't know if people realize this. Is the way it happened and developed into this is kind of interesting in some ways too. OG's primary agent is Omar Wilkes, and Omar Wilkes was originally with Octagon Management. And what happened was LeBron and Rich Paul made a power play, and they got Omar to join their group and leave Octagon with his clients. And his two main clients from Octagon were OG Anunoby and Trae Young. So these guys left Octagon with Omar as their agent. They said they decided to go with him, and now they're under the umbrella of LeBron's management group. Now, so this really understand this. LeBron owns this company. So when these agents, when Rich Paul, who's really a proxy for LeBron, he might as well be LeBron. Like, in a way, he's just the guy who's not LeBron, that's running things, figurehead or whatever. I guess, I don't know, to get around conflicts of interest. I don't know. Rich Paul's the primary agent. But really, LeBron is the guy profiting from some of this sports management right now, which is crazy. Because I'll talk about situations that have happened in the last couple of years, or just even this summer, that are really slimy or kind of weird, But first, let's talk about our guys first. Now, should Raptor fans be concerned that OG Anunoby and Gary Trent are basically under the management of LeBron James in a way? Yes and no. I think that still in these situations when they, all right, first of all, both of these players have negotiated new contracts under Clutch Management with the Toronto Raptors organization. That means Rich Paul and Omar Wilkes coming and talking to Bobby Webster and figuring out these contracts. Now, Gary did his this summer with them, and it was Rich Paul. He's his primary agent dealing with Bobby Webster face-to-face, and that's the deal that Gary just got, that he to sign to come here and stay with Toronto. And it's a fairly fair deal. I've said in the past that Gary really hasn't earned that money the way that most of the Raptors guys do in the system. They got to prove stuff and then they get some money. And he hasn't really proven a whole lot here in the short little time that he was here last season. But we're paying him on the promise. And honestly, I think it was a very fair deal. Like, if you look at it, and you're worried about, LeBron's management company is going to try and gouge the Raptors or do something seedy that way to mess them up. No, they weren't trying to do that. It was very fair, and they managed. I guess they allowed it to happen, and it happened. So Gary Trent's here for a couple of years at a very fair price. Now, last summer was when they did OG's deal before the whole Giannis sweepstakes that was supposedly going to happen. And part of the reason why we let go of Serge and Mark right before the beginning of the season. And the way we did the deals with Fred and OG last year, their deals that are on now, were to allow leeway for us to sign Giannis this past offseason if he hadn't doubled down with Milwaukee like he did, which he did. He doubled down with Milwaukee and he made his roots there. And that whole plan went out the window. But OG did negotiate his deal with Omar Wilkes, with Bobby Webster, in a fair way so that it left room for us to be able to possibly go get Giannis if that had opened up for us. So I don't think that they were trying to hurt us in any kind of way, the organization that way. They were very fair. We've got OG at a good deal right now. The contract over the next couple of years and what we're paying him is going to be, we're going to getting him on a deal, because he's going to be worth more by the end of his contract, and we get to pay him still, under $20,000 a year for right now. Now it's going to change, and that's part of the reason why these guys wanted to get OG. Is, what do you think? All right, LeBron's playing in the league, and he's playing against guys, and he's seeing them up close, and he understands where the talents and stuff like that. He saw OG and how he was shutting them down. He's like, oh, I want to get him on this team. Now, does OG working under the sports management company that LeBron owns affect OG's effort and how he plays against LeBron? No. We have not seen that be an issue where OG took it any easier on him. In fact, that last Kyle Lowry game last season when they played the Lakers, that was a real statement game by the Raptors and a statement game by Kyle Lowry. And part of it is OG doing his part in shutting down LeBron. I think OG has too much pride and understanding in what he's trying to do personally as a defensive player in the league to, do any shortcuts or give any breaks to a guy just because he's in his management. Well, isn't there kind of a weird conflict of interest that, like, what if he pisses off LeBron in the league in some way in play on the court, and that affects him as his management with his agency? See, that's the thing I'm talking about. Often in economics and capitalism and business and stuff, advantages are sought and found through conflicts of interest. There's conflict of interest when the governor of Florida mandates that everybody who wants to take welfare has to take a drug test, and he has stock in that company that sells the drug test shots. Or there's a conflict of interest when Donald Trump is at Mar-a-Lago and he's making the U.S. government pay his own company a bunch of money for the Secret Service to stay there. He's making money off of the taxpayers' money because he's making them stay at Mar-a-Lago and pay him to stay in his hotel. So these are conflicts of interest. So in a way, the thing that's happening with LeBron and his agency is kind of a conflict of interest, if you ask me. And it hasn't been that big of a deal with the Raptor players specifically because of the integrity of OG Anunoby and what he's trying to personally achieve in goal-wise in the NBA. I don't know about Gary Trent. Like I said, I see this deal being very fair, both of them. Very fair and good for the Raptors. So I don't have any problem with how they've negotiated with us. Now, one of the things I could worry about being under Clutch management is the stuff that's going on with Ben Simmons right now. Ben Simmons is a Clutch sports management Rich Paul client. And LeBron's done this a couple times in the since 2012, since Clutch Sports came into existence. He's done manipulative things with clients of Clutch Sports, getting them on his team and stuff, like to use them as pawns. I call them pawn clients of Clutch Sports. And one of the ones last year that's notable is Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is a Clutch Sports client. And honestly, Clutch Sports has really screwed up his career in a lot of ways. I mean, coming to LA last year and playing with LeBron really hurt his career. He went from being viewed as like a starting center or important guy to now he's Joel Embiid's backup. And like he's getting less money. His value in the league went down because of LeBron's whims to bring him to the Lakers last year and do that. And that's not the only guy. There's other Clutch management clients that have been brought to the Lakers at LeBron's whim to play on the team with them, and they've suffered for it. Their trade value has gone down. Anthony Davis is a Clutch agent client. So, in the whole thing that happened with him coming to LA from New Orleans is symbolic of what I'm talking about right now. Anthony Davis was a top 5 player in the whole entire league before he came to the Lakers, and now he's on the Lakers. His value has just gone down. Like, he's not valued by the rest of the league like he was in New Orleans. And that's a failure of his management. That's a failure of his guy, his own teammate that's on the team with him. Now, okay, we can talk about Ben Simmons and the current situation with him, not wanting to report to training camp, whether his management's advising him. Now, then you got to start thinking, well, what is Clutch Sports telling Ben Simmons to do? And what are they like saying that this could happen? Like, you could get to Golden State and this could happen, or you could get to LA and be with LeBron, or you could be with, all this kind of stuff. It, in a way, is collusion, because they're actively disrupting another franchise in the league. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to have a bad year this year, partly because Clutch Sports and Ben Simmons are not going to report to camp. So that's what I'm saying. There's conflicts of interest. Having an active player in the league who's one of the best players in the league be, a sports agent at the same time. Whether it's he has a proxy and he's not actually the guy, he owns the company and he has a lot of I want to know what he's privy to. Like, what is LeBron privy to? Does he get to hear OG's negotiations between Bobby Webster and Omar Wilkes? Does he get to all that intel and understanding as a player who's still in the league? I wouldn't have any problem with LeBron and Clutch Sports after he retires. That's not a big deal. But while he's playing, there are issues. Now, the next person I want to talk about that's a Clutch Sports client is Nerlens Noel. Well, he's not anymore. He dropped them, partly because he was not an important client to them or something, and they were negligent in doing some things for him in this past off season that cost him money and cost him money. Hurt Nerlens. And I think Nerlens has now got a lawsuit against Clutch and is mad at them for this. And it could be that they were busy dealing with all other clients. They just didn't make a big deal out of him, but they were negligent and they messed up and he lost money, Nerlens Noel, and he's not happy with them. But with everything that happens with Clutch, we have to take that idea. It's like, well, how does this relate to LeBron? Why is this happening or something? You got to worry about the conflicts of interest, the collusion. It just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. It looks like something's fishy. It looks like what congressmen are doing in the U.S. right now, buying stock in vaccine companies before a pandemic because they knew what was going to happen and they wanted to make some money. It's dirty. It's dirty stuff. And that's why it looks fishy to me when a player like LeBron is in management and has to do with people getting contracts and doing different things around the league. It's just, you got to separate them. It's not going to matter soon because LeBron will retire in the next 2 or 3 years. And then, it's free and clear. But during this whole time, I worry about this. What is to say that Omar Wilkes doesn't come to OG? I don't think it'll happen with OG as likely it may happen with Gary Trent. But what happens when these guys come to one of these guys and say, oh, you're worth more, and they get in their head, and then all of a sudden these guys are like Ben Simmons problems for the Raptors? That's what I'm wondering about. So I watched these two guys in particular. I'm not as worried about OG because I know him better than Gary Trent, and I know what makes him tick. Like, it's important competition and putting his all in and trying all out, and he wants to be the best and he wants to beat the best. So I don't worry about him slacking because he's working for LeBron in a way. OG works for LeBron in a way. That's kind of messed up. But he's also at the same time, he's trying to stop LeBron on the court. Like, it's confusing, yes. But you got to look at the motives of each person involved, and OG's motives are to win for the Raptors and play good defense and shut down LeBron, even though LeBron is kind of his boss. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's fishy and it's weird. If OG didn't have the prior relationship with Omar Wilkes and like that agent before they joined Clutch, I would worry about it more. But Omar is his primary agent, and he's a great agent for OG. He's a great agent for him. It's just that he now works for LeBron. So I know it's convoluted. There's there could be problems and issues. Like I said, with what's happening with Ben Simmons in Philadelphia. That is a pure good example. And like I said, also, he's not good for some of his clients. Nerlens Noel, Andre Drummond. There's other guys in the league that have been hurt because of LeBron James' little chess games to try and build super teams on his team and get his other people that are under his management, clients, on his team with him at his own whims and stuff like that. So anyway, conflicts of interest. Look at them where they are in the world and understand what you as a citizen want to put up and stand up for, what isn't good or what is wrong. Because sometimes it's just people just gaming the system to try and make more money because they have a conflict of interest and they can hide it and do that. And it's messed up. And this one in the NBA, I know I'm going to be watching both of those players that are under Clutch Management on our team. And maybe even thinking about it from that slant in some ways. Well, why did they do that? Or why didn't he do that? I'm not worried about OG. OG is a competitor, and he wants to be the best he can be. But Gary, I don't know yet. I don't know. Gary could be an issue at some point. Maybe not character-wise, but he could get bad information from his management group that makes him do dumb stuff like Ben Simmons is doing right now. Because what Ben Simmons is doing right now is dumb. It's going to hurt his career. He's going to lose money. And, it's not going to be like a Kawhi thing because he's not proven anything like Kawhi had before he did a stunt like this. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on OG Anunoby and his role as a client for Clutch Management Sports Group. I don't like it, but they gave us a good contract for OG last year, and Gary was a fair contract too this summer. So we're working with them. Bobby and Masai are smart. They're going to be hard-nosed with Omar and Rich Paul, and when they have to deal with them in different places, I'm sure. But still, the conflict of interest, too many questions, too much wondering about exactly what does LeBron get to see in other players' negotiations with franchises and stuff. What is he privy to? And where does he puppet master? Where does this stop? Where does this stop? Like, is it just if the client is like, oh yeah, LeBron, I'd love to play in LA, and not really thinking though, yeah, that's going to screw your career up. Because if you go to LA, it screws your career up. It's going to screw Russell's career up. It's going to screw Carmelo's career up in a way. Although Carmelo's probably going to be fine. Carmelo's is going to be mellow. But y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching me. Content every day. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell other people about stupid things that I'm talking about on here. I'm just trying to keep it real and just saying, like, look, we should be passionate about our team. Our team is a top team in the NBA. And I'm just trying to get that passion across and that pride. We should be proud of our team. And sometimes we get in this place where we kind of look at ourselves as secondary citizens because that's what the media in the NBA and hockey and all this kind of things wants to treat us like. But we should have pride and passion for our team because our team is great. Our team is one of the best sports franchises in the entire world. And we should love them, support them, root them on, and get loud. All right, everybody. Have a great day. And, here's the OG's competitiveness. He's not dumb enough to kowtow to LeBron, even though he kind of works for him. It's scary. It's weird. I know. It's really strange. Oh, well.